Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Come to the Factory. My company works with a customer that has a factory 2.5 hours away from us. We've been working with them for years now, and we've been at the factory a couple of times at the start of the project. Everyone at the customer works at the factory. We are in charge of migrating paper trails to digital documents, for a company that has like 4 warehouses full of paper trail documents. The solution has been working for some time. Last week, they asked us for a meeting. My boss said, okay, online, whenever you want. They said that they wanted an in-person one, that we should go to the factory. My boss didn't want to, so he said, if we go, I'll have to bill you for the time. They said yes. So Monday morning, my boss and the tech in charge of the process head down there. The meeting lasts exactly 15 minutes. It could have been solved in exactly 2 paragraphs and 1 email. Since they are there, the tech asked the client to show them the paper trail warehouses and for a tour of the factory, and they happily comply. Overall, the meeting that could have been 15 minutes or 2 emails lasted 5 hours of travel, plus 3 hours touring there, plus the food. Guess who's getting billed 16 hours of work and the food for a 15 minutes meeting? The next story is called Class Rules. In my senior year of high school, I took a 0 period elective class. School started at 8. 0 period was a 7 AM class. The teacher only taught that class and was a former lawyer and adjunct college professor. He told us, college won't have an attendance policy, so neither will I. You'll be graded on the work you complete, and any work you miss won't count for or against you. We were given a quiz every week and a test at the end of every 6 weeks. Apparently, he expected us to follow his policy in good faith, and for the most part, everyone did. But by the 5th 6 weeks, baseball season was in full swing, and I was tired of leaving home at 6:30 for class. So I decided to test his policy. I showed up for the first week and took the weekly quiz. I got an A, and I didn't come back for the rest of that 6 weeks period. To his credit, the teacher followed his policy. I was graded on the 1 quiz I aced and got an A for the entire 6 weeks. Though he apparently regularly asked if I was still a student. I felt bad and showed up again for the last 6 weeks. The third story is called Fee Compliance. The property manager for my apartment recently changed hands, and the new company has a policy where if you don't set up autopay, it will charge you $10 extra every time. I feel extremely uncomfortable having such a large payment on autopay, as I like to ensure my bank account is funded, and they didn't charge me incorrectly. However, you can still pay by check with no fee, and their office is only 2 doors down, so it's pretty simple to drop it off. Also, I love that it takes them around a week to cash the check, so it doesn't come out of my account right away. I'm 90% sure that they do in fact drop these checks off, due to the copy of the endorsed check I see online. Either way, they aren't getting their money instantly, so I view it as a win either way. If only everyone started paying by check again, we could show them not to charge senseless, greedy fees. The next story is called Detention Rule. This policy was enacted by my high school in my last few years. Once classes started, the gates were shut, and if you arrived late, you had to sign in at the office. This gave them a list of kids to pick out at the end of the day, and we would have to sit in detention for half an hour. But it was only ever half an hour, no matter how late you were. Cue me and my best friend enjoying our extended lions in the morning, then walking into town to hit up McDonald's or Subway for breakfast, before casually strolling in between 2 and 3 hours late, signing in and just happily accepting the extra half an hour of detention at the end of the day. It took them a full month to catch onto us, at which point the late policy was changed, and we were given a full week's worth of detention each, which A, absolutely did not make up for the lost time, and B, was well worth it for the best month of high school we'd ever had. It's safe to say the 2 rebel teenagers won that round. The last story is called Get a Test. This happened back in the middle of 2010. I was working in a food factory at the time. I was sitting in my car during my break when my sister messaged me to let me know she had tested positive. I had been with her just 2 days before, so I knew I needed to do a test. I didn't want to go back inside, knowing I could spread it. So I messaged my manager on Facebook, telling him what happened. He messaged me back and told me to meet him outside the front door and told me hang on while he went to the main office and got me a test. When he came back, he told me they had limited supply and they didn't want to run out. He was as baffled as I was. It was beyond his control. He told me I'd have to go to the pharmacy for one. They were free. Fine, whatever. If it gets me out of work for a little while. I drove to the nearest pharmacy a mile up the road to discover it was closed. Then it hit me that it was a bank holiday. I checked online, trying to find one that was open. There were a few advertised as open, but they were closed when I went to them. As a last resort, I asked on the family chat if anyone had any tests. My dad replied and said yes, and that my younger brother is at home. By the time I drove to my dad's house, took the test, waited for the result to be negative, and drove back to work, it had been an hour and a half. I was clocked in, so they had to pay me an hour and a half's wages to drive around. My manager was angry, until I reminded him it was a bank holiday, and it was lucky that my dad had tests. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.